Kanilang mga empleyado.
After voting day, F2 trucks should retrieve VCMs only and return them to the Laguna warehouse. What was reportedly dumped were boxes from 10 precincts carrying used ballot secrecy folders, indelible ink, stamp pads, envelopes, and even copies of election returns. Comelec assures the public official ballots remain in their custody and were properly counted in the national tally. Commissioner George Garcia tells F2, its logistics partner since 2018, that it should hold its own probe on the incident. Pending results, he says Comelec may consider cutting ties with the private firm, collecting damages, filing charges, or withholding payment until resolved. Meanwhile, Comelec says all is set for the May 24 special elections in 12 barangays in Tubaran, Lanao del Sur. Over 6,000 voters in 15 precincts will vote after a failure of election on May 9th due to violence. These will dictate the final order of party list winners, with the race too close to call so far. Proclamation for the 63 party list seats in Congress is set for Thursday, provided the Tubaran polls proceed smoothly. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
In other news, a passenger vessel en route from Polillo Island to Real in Quezon Province caught fire, leaving at least 7 people dead and 24 others injured. The MV Mercraft to carry 128 passengers and 8 crew members when it left at around 5 this morning. Philippine Coast Guard says 103 of the passengers have been brought back home. All passengers and crew have been accounted for as of this afternoon. Coming up on Newsnight, presumptive President Bongbong Marcos announces more key appointments to his cabinet, while he also meets with ambassadors of some of the country's biggest trading partners. And we pay tribute to the queen of Philippine movies, Susan Roses. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines.
Pandemic, serving others is the best. Sa pagtutulungan, patuloy ang ating laban sa buhay. Kaya dapat always healthy. With proper diet, exercise, and MX3 coffee mix to ignite my day.
Hi guys!
Lagi akong focused, active, at extraordinary. Because the most important things in life deserve nothing less. MX3 coffee mix, my choice.
Welcome back. Presumptive President Bongbong Marcos identifies more people who will make up his incoming cabinet. Marcos also bared what he and top diplomats discussed during their courtesy visit. Tristan Odalo joins us live for more details. Tristan, let's start with Marcos's picks for cabinet members.
Cavite 7th District Representative Boying Remulla has accepted the offer to be the next Justice Secretary. The lawmaker said he did not ask nor apply for the job, but he couldn't say no to the offer of presumptive President Bongbong Marcos. In a media briefing, Marcos enumerated some of the reasons why Remulla is capable of being the next Justice Secretary.
He has a great many years of experience in government, number one. And what many people do not know is that he's actually a very, very good lawyer. And so I think he will fit very nicely into the DOJ.
I really work hard. I am devoted to my duties. Kaya it doesn't take much naman. When you are told by the president, it's It's understood already.
Apart from Remulla, Marcos's spokesperson and lawyer Vic Rodriguez also accepted the offer to be the next executive secretary. Marcos also announced his offer to Bienvenido Laguesma as labor chief, Susan Toots Ople as the head of the newly created Migrant Workers Department, and Arsenio Balisacan as NEDA secretary. The three have accepted the nomination according to Rodriguez. Marcos says he will reveal more members of his economic team in the coming days. The presumptive president says their focus for now is the canvassing and proclamation. Back to you, Pia.
Tristan, three ambassadors in a charge d'affaires paying a courtesy call on Marcos in his headquarters. What was discussed?
Yeah, it's more of cooperation between the Philippines, Japan, South Korea, India, and the United States. Marcos said experts from South Korea would check on the feasibility of reopening the Bataan nuclear power plant. For India, he's looking at partnerships in the fields of agriculture, manufacturing of generic drugs, and microfinancing. The meeting with the United States centered on climate change, trade, economic recovery, and security in the region. Marcos also cited the need to redefine the Visiting Forces Agreement with Washington. The presumptive president has yet to name his Foreign Affairs Secretary. Back to you, Pia.
Tristan Odalo there reporting. Well, what happens to the vacant seat Boying Remulla leaves behind at the lower house now that he has accepted Marcos's offer to become Justice Secretary? COMELEC says it can either assign a so-called caretaker for Cavite's 7th District Representative or hold special elections.
You have to give up one and then accept the other. Halimbawa sa district na yan, gagastos at gagastos ka rin, kulang ang mga 50 million. Eh sayang din yung 50 million. Pero since magsisimula pa lang ang term, kung ano't ano man, magpatawag ang Kongreso, the COMELEC is so prepared to conduct the special election.
Remulla ran for re-election unopposed as representative of Cavite's 7th District in the May polls. COMELEC says he is not covered by the one-year ban prohibiting candidates from cabinet appointments because he did not lose. So what are Remulla's plans and priorities once he becomes Justice Secretary? I spoke to him earlier for tomorrow's episode of Politics as Usual. Let's listen in on his agenda.
I didn't apply to be secretary, kasi first of all, I really ran to be a member of the House. And I was expecting to become the majority leader of the House. That's already an arrangement that was being worked out with the presumptive speaker. But actually, 2 or 3 days after the elections, I was called by the president-elect to his home. And we had a conversation where he told me that he wanted me to serve as his Justice Secretary. And Pia, as a lawyer, I can tell you it's every lawyer's dream to attain the rank or status, but it's not the point. The point is really to be able to help the government run things. Probably my leadership style might be compatible with the leadership style of the president. And it's just a dream for me to be able to serve in this capacity. And with the problems the country has, somebody has to step up. And I'm willing to take a challenge for this.
Can you give us an idea of what you're going to be doing as Justice Secretary? Like, what kind of program? What are you going to focus on? Are you going to, for example, look very well into the prosecutorial service? Other DOJ programs?
Well, the DOJ is a very, very big department, Pia. First of all, what do you have there? You have the Land Registration Commission. We have the National Bureau of Investigation, Bureau of Corrections and Criminology, and so many other offices. I mean, name it, the DOJ participates in every government activity. So there's so much to do. And the most important thing probably is the rate of prosecution, acquittal and conviction that is happening right now, where there are jails, when we talk about overcrowded jails, it's because of the slow pace of justice. So probably it's about time that we audit one thing that the first things we can do is to audit all of the detention prisoners to see if they're allowed, they can be freed already, to decongest the jails, and for those that have to be prosecuted to work double time.
In the immediate aftermath of the election, napag-uusapan kasi yung, for example, if BBM were to push his unity theme, his unity campaign theme beyond the campaign and moving forward, that would there be that possibility of the new Marcos administration looking into, for example, the cases against Laila de Lima, who was and very clearly anyway, was a very severe critic of BBM himself.
Well, that would be part of the continuity of the job that I will have. Alam mo naman, PIA is about institutional continuity.
Catch the full interview tomorrow on Politics as usual at 8:30 in the evening, only here on CNN Philippines. Health officials are finding the close contacts of the first BA.4 case in the country, an international traveler from the Middle East. But what is this subvariant and how different is it from the other offshoots of the Omicron variant? Kylin Bonkin reports.
In a race between circulating variants of concern, Omicron infects people faster than Delta. But Omicron has even more transmissible offshoot. Currently, BA.2 is dominant globally. But new subvariants BA.4 and 5, along with BA.2.12.1, are even more infectious.
We can be reinfected with B4 or B5 even if we were exposed to BA1.
Infectious diseases specialist Jean Solantes says changes in the virus have allowed
San Miguel Corporation.
BA.4 and 5 to escape
Bisag
the
unsang
person's
industriya
protection
ang
against
sudlan ni
coronavirus.
tinguha
Built
sa
from
SMC
previous
ang pag-uswag
infection
o
or
paglambo sa mga
vaccination,
Pilipino.
especially without booster shot.
Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC. San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
Causes the most serious COVID-19 infection. There's no evidence yet for BA.4 and 5. Dr. Solantes says health authorities should still be on the lookout if those reinfected have had booster shot.
If those who were boosted already and yet acquired the infection, then there's a possibility that the second booster is in place for the general public.
While data on variants keep changing, doctors remind the public to keep doing what has brought COVID-19 cases down, like proper masking, hand sanitizing, isolating when sick, and getting up to date with vaccines. Caroline Bonkin, CNN Philippines.
The Health Department also tracking the local transmission of the Omicron subvariant BA.2.12.1. The weekly case tally rose to over 1,200 from May 16 to 22, almost 10% higher than the previous week. Now, as the COVID-19 pandemic drags on, more cases of a rare disease have been reported worldwide. The World Health Organization detects 92 confirmed cases and 28 suspected infections of monkeypox in 12 countries, including the United States. It says it expects more monkeypox cases in the coming days. The monkeypox virus is different from the virus that causes chickenpox. Initial symptoms include fever, chills, exhaustion, headaches, and muscle weakness. Monkeypox is spread through close contact with an infected person. U.S. President Joe Biden has raised the alarm at the rising monkeypox cases, although he said it was not as concerning as COVID-19.
It is something that everybody should be concerned about. We're working on it hard, figure out what we do and what vaccine, if any, may be available for it. But it is a concern in the sense that if it were to spread, it's consequential.
Biden made the remarks during his visit to Japan today, where he also unveiled an economic plan countering China. Biden said 13 nations will join the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework that will reduce dependence on the Asian superpower. Biden first visited South Korea last week in an effort to increase Asian cooperation. Back here at home, a glimmer of hope for displaced victims 5 years since the war in Marawi. Maranao leaders hailed the passage of a law that will help them recover properties they lost. But as George Gilas reports, residents are no longer expecting too much.
Displaced residents may not be satisfied with the slow-paced rehabilitation of Marawi City. But with the passage of the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act just this April, Maranaos became optimistic yet realistic on what lies ahead.
Regardless of the amount, the Compensation Act is a recognition that we are victims, but we are not expecting na ang maibabalik sa amin is yung nawala sa amin.
The law aims to give monetary compensation to displaced residents of the Islamic City through the 9-member Compensation Board. Task Force Bangon Marawi Chairperson and Housing Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario says he will ask President Rodrigo Duterte to appoint the composition of the board so that they may start the ball rolling.
We also network with the city government so that they can help us in getting the names of recommendees for the composition of the 9-member compensation board. I think 4 will be coming from the Davao del Sur province or from the city, and the other 5 will come from the other areas.
All right, sir.
So that it will be a balanced composition based on their expertise and competence.
The clock is ticking as President Duterte will step down in more than a month. This is the reason why residents fear that they will be left hanging if the Duterte administration will not act as soon as possible. The rehabilitation of Marawi won't be completed under the Duterte administration. This is why the Maranaos are appealing to the incoming administration to prioritize and fast-track all ongoing projects to help rebuild their homes and livelihood that were destroyed by the war. With no generic nor specific plans on Marawi from the incoming administration, more questions are now being raised.
Ang daming uncertainties ngayon dahil lang sa nangyari at ang daming hindi natapos. Lalong-lalo na yung rehabilitation. We don't know. He was very quiet during the entire campaign, so we don't know whether he's going to pursue the compensation, etc. We know that it is already a law, so they have to deal with it. The problem, of course, is we need a budget for that.
Senate Special Committee on Marawi Rehabilitation Chairman Senator Ronald De La Rosa commits to Maranaos that he will push for the funding of the compensation law in the next Congress.
For purposes of continuity, para sa akin, I would recommend to the incoming President na sana tuloy-tuloy na niya ito.
Maranaos know that their hardships will not end soon. While they can still wait, they are hoping that they will not be forgotten as a new chapter of the country's history is about to unfold. From Marawi City, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines. CNN Philippines.
The late queen of Philippine movies, Susan Roses, will be laid to rest on Thursday. Supporters and personalities paid their respects to the actress at her wake in Taguig City. The Senate unanimously approved a resolution expressing its sympathy and condolences. Senator Grace Poe thanked colleagues for honoring her mother. She recalled their last conversation where Roses congratulated her for the passage of the founding law.
Here today, in spite of the fact that her wake is ongoing, I guess, because it's also comforting to be surrounded by friends and also to finish my work. My mom would always encourage me, no matter what, to finish what I started.
We just want to extend our condolences at taus-pusong pakikiramay. Kasi alam naman natin, of course, aside from kaibigan natin, yung pamilya, ay gusto rin natin talagang ibigyan ng tribute yung si Mrs. Poe sa kanyang malaking naitulong sa bansa natin at saka sa development ng industry in general. So, yun lang po. Kami po ay nakikiramay sa pamilya po nila.
The interment is expected to take place at the Manila North Cemetery. Senator Poe's half-sister Lovie Poe and Makati Councilor John Hilario were among those present at the wake. Rosas' husband, Fernando Poe Jr., died in December 2004. Still ahead on Newsnight, Team Philippines wrapping up its campaign at this year's Southeast Asian Games in Hanoi, plus the FEU cheering squad reclaims the UAAP cheer dance crown. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
Fried chicken? Timplang happy. Tocino? Timplang magandang gising. Inasal? Ito, medyo timplang umuusok. Galit-galitan. Spicy? Timplang hot na hot. With easy-to-cook Magnolia Chicken Templados. Iba't ibang sarap ng chicken, kaya. Ikaw, anong Magnolia Chicken Templados mo? Iba't ibang easy chicken sarap.
Land Bank has always believed that in this country, we have to dream big. And so we learned to build something out of nothing. Improving the quality of life for our people, so that we can keep in step with a brave new world and make our big dreams come true.
You're watching Newsnight on CNN Philippines. After over a decade, the FEU cheering squad reclaims the UAAP cheer dance crown. The squad won Sunday's event at the Mall of Asia Arena with a rock and roll routine set to songs by Queen. The previous back-to-back winner, the NU Pep squad, slipped to second runner-up, while Adamson came in as first runner-up. FEU last nabbed the title in 2009. Competition has become the talk of the internet, topping Twitter's trending list until today. Fans congratulated the new title holders using the hashtag #WeWillRockFEU. While some netizens say the NU's pink and green scarves may have been a show of support for presidential and vice presidential candidates Leni Robredo and Kiko Pangilinan, the tandem's colors are pink and green. Some UP fans expressed disappointment. They tweeted the squad should have made a political or impactful message with their routine, which was K-pop themed this year. UP notably used past performances to champion gender equality and support student athletes. Other posts commended all three podium finishers, FEU, Adamson, and NU, for their dazzling performances. The schools have dominated the past three cheer dance competitions, consistently placing at least third since 2018. Now, moving on to the NCAA, the Letran Knights are back-to-back champions. The team defeated the Mapua Cardinals 75-65 in Game 2 of the finals yesterday. MVP and Rookie of the Year Renz Abando led Letran with 14 points and 12 rebounds. And over in Vietnam, Team Philippines ending its Southeast Asian Games campaign at 4th place overall. That is with 226 medals, 52 gold, 70 silver, and 104 bronzes. Host country Vietnam topped the regional meet with 446 medals under its belt. Thailand and Indonesia were at 2nd and 3rd place, respectively. But before the Philippines capped off its run, the boxing team scored 3 gold medals, courtesy of Olympian Yumir Marshall, Ian Clark Bautista, and Rogen Ladon. The Gilas women also bagged gold despite finishing with a 4-1 record, identical to Indonesia. The Philippines holds the head-to-head advantage after beating Indonesia in their last matchup last May 16. But in men's basketball, Indonesia dethroned Gilas Pilipinas for the title, winning the final game 85-81. Gilas settled for silver, marking the first time in 33 years that the team is not taking gold. The SEA Games closing ceremony is set for 9 p.m. Philippine time at the Dinh Indoor Catholic Athletics Arena in Vietnam. And that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond headlines.
This program is
Radio Philippines Network. Radyo